Welcome to Jesse Watters Prime Time. Tonight, Biden, Abbott, the Mexicans. Who blinks first?
Take me to church, I go to work, I get my freak on!
The Trump Georgia prosecution goes off the rails.
Do I gotta do everything?
We just ask to keep an open mind, be respectful, and let us be weird animal people in our way.
Happy DEI Thursday, America. Plus, Michelle Obama for president.
Michelle, I know it was hard being in the office for 8 years, but save us!
Nearly 250 years ago, our founding fathers debated the future of the government. The Federalists wanted a strong, centralized federal government. Anti-Federalists, such as Thomas Jefferson, believed that government power should be derived from the individual states joining together. And debates between the two schools of thoughts flourished in town halls and village squares. The topic was so contentious that oftentimes swords and bayonets were drawn. But ultimately, the founding fathers found a compromise. Some powers were assigned to the federal government, like regulating trade. Other powers were assigned to the state governments, like education. And other powers were shared, like the power to tax. The federal government has the power to wage war. And under Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, the United States shall protect each state against invasion. But what if the federal government fails to protect the states against invasion? Well, the Constitution says the states can protect themselves from invasion when they're actually invaded or face an imminent threat. And the Supreme Court's agreed in several cases, reaffirming the rights of states to use military force in its own defense. You judge with your own eyes if the United States is being invaded. Foreign nationals are breaching our shores by boat and then sprinting through the beaches and just disappearing onto the streets. I mean, these foreigners have no right to break into our country. That's not immigration. What you're seeing on the screen is what every country in the world calls an invasion. They say it's not violent, but drugs, sex, and human smuggling and all of the crime and devastation associated with that is violent. That's what violence is. So why is Biden treating the border like a turnstile for the third world?
Where are you going? San Diego. Oh, San Diego. You?
Senegal.
Where are you going?
New York.
Thank you. You?
Senegal.
Where are you going?
New York.
Where are you going?
Senegal.
Where are you from? Where are you going?
New York.
You?
Senegal, New York.
Thank you.
Senegal.
New
York.
Thank you.
Senegal. New York.
Thank you.
Senegal, New York.
Thank you.
Senegal, New York.
All right, so who do you want as president? A travel agent or a builder? Because look where Biden stopped building the border wall.
I am here in Jacumba, California. This is the United States. Over here on the other side is Mexico. I'm going to show you how easy it is to sneak across the border. All right, right now I'm in the United States and ahora estoy en Mexico. It's that easy to cross the border. And people are just walking through just like this.
Now, the majority of the country believes we're being invaded. 51 counties in Texas agree. The state officially declared an invasion on the southern border. Greg Abbott is invoking Texas's constitutional authority to self-defense.
The authors of the Constitution knew there would be times when the federal government would not live up to its duty. And so they empowered states in Article 1, Section 10, the right of self-defense. The Biden administration has really, truly abdicated its responsibility to secure the border and enforce the laws. Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrests of those criminals.
The Texas National Guard is erecting more razor fencing. The Supreme Court had ruled the federal government had the right to cut the fence, but allowed Texas to reserve the right to throw it back up. And the governor is enlisting an army of farmers and ranchers to lay razor wire along the border. And 25 other states are backing Abbott, sending resources to Texas and echoing the state's right to self-defense. But razor wire won't be enough. Texas Rangers aren't just fence builders. They need to repel, arrest, detain, and deport what they've declared an invasion. But Democrats are now urging Joe Biden to federalize the Texas National Guard, rip the power away from Abbott and make them stand down, and let the invasion, as it's been declared, continue. Federalizing a state's National Guard has only been used in the most extreme circumstances. It was first used during the Whiskey Rebellion in 1792. It was also used during the Civil War, during desegregation, and during urban riots. But this time's different. The Democrats would be federalizing a state's National Guard to not protect our citizens. What does the White House say about that?
The Border Patrol agents are now, as you said, allowed to cut through the wire because of what the Supreme Court has laid out. It's unfortunate that we had to go there. It's unfortunate that there is a governor in Texas, Governor Abbott, who has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border. And it's not making people's lives safer. It's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job.
Binder's saying securing the border makes the Border Patrol's job harder. Well, in a way, she's right, because the job of Biden's Border Patrol is to process illegals, not catch and deport them. And what is it about Latin Americans pouring into Texas that Democrats like? If Russian nationals were pouring across the Bering Strait into Alaska seeking asylum, would Biden let them in? Or if Chinese nationals were landing in Hawaii on little rickety ships, claiming refugee status, would Biden allow it? Of course not. Kamala told us what the goal is with Texas. She admitted she doesn't want to stop the invasion. She wants to speed it up.
What are those solutions? The solution includes putting resources at the border to do what we can to process people effectively and putting in place laws that actually allow for a meaningful pathway to citizenship.
Process more foreigners and put them on a pathway to citizenship, which means they vote.
In a couple of presidential cycles, you'll be on election night. You'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics, because of the population growth of folks from outside of Texas.
And while 6 million illegals are waiting for amnesty and voting rights, the census counts them. And the more illegals you have, the more money and power the politicians get.
I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
Democrats also want the southern border invaded for crop picking and baby making.
We need immigrants in this country. Our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants. The fact is that the birth rate in this country is way below replacement level, which means our population is going to start shrinking. And the ratio of people on Social Security and Medicare is going to increase relative to the number of people supporting them.
So it doesn't matter that your son drops dead from fentanyl, your schools are overcrowded, your hospitals go bankrupt, and your wages go down. None of that matters. Nadler's tomatoes are ripe, and Texas turns blue. Every state must stand with Texas. Because if we lose that battle, you're next. Former Texas Governor Rick Perry joins us now. So what is next, Governor, if this thing looks like it's on a collision course and doesn't stop?
Well, here's what I think is going to happen from a political standpoint. Is it was kind of intriguing to listen to the Castro brothers talking about how Texas is going to turn purple and then blue. And they're dreaming, because what this administration is doing is turning Texas even more red, and it's really going to start getting red along the border where the historic Democrat Party was strong. And because of this open border and open crime and open problem that we've got with drugs and all the other things that are happening along the border of Texas, those Hispanic historic Democrats are becoming Republicans, and they're becoming Republicans overwhelmingly. So I will suggest to you that the Castro boys may have been talking about their pipe dream of seeing a blue Texas, but Texas is going to be even redder from a political standpoint. Now, God bless Governor Abbott for what he's doing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he's fighting the fight. He's standing up, doing what needs to be done in this country. I hope he finds more buses and more airplanes to send these individuals further into the United States, so the folks in New York and Chicago and Denver, those places that are begging and telling us, oh, you cold-hearted people down there in Texas, we're sanctuary cities up here, and you should be too. Well, here's your chance to reflect that, and I will suggest to you, it's just a bunch of blather when they have to deal with this issue and the cost of it and the cost to their citizens, not just in money, but in crime, in having to deal with this from a Medicare standpoint, deal with this in their public schools. They are going to wish they had always been on the side of law and order, building a wall, building the technology, having the quick response teams to secure that border like we did under the Trump administration. And I will suggest to you that November of 24, in a short 10 months, you're going to see Americans turning out in droves, sending a message about we are fed up.
Yeah, I hope so. I thought that was going to happen, Governor Perry, during the, I know, very good. I hope that was going to happen during the midterms. It didn't happen the way I thought it did. And, Texas used to be deep red, Governor. I mean, Reagan won it huge, Bush won it huge, but it has gotten more purple if you look at the presidential margins. But let me ask you, going forward in the week and the week after, what does it mean when the Governor Abbott says, no, we're not going to let you cut these fences down, we're going to put more up, and Biden says, oh, we're coming to cut these down? What does that look like?
Well, if that's the image that Joe Biden wants to send all across the country, that he is literally willing to go to war with one of his own states, then, good luck with that, Mr. President, because I'm going to tell you, the people of America are sick of this immigration problem that we've got. They know why it's happening, and they're going to stand up with Greg Abbott, with Governor Patrick, with the Texas legislature, and push back hard, as they should. This is just not acceptable. The people of America know it, Jesse.
All right. Well, I think Fed Up, the book title, I think speaks for every American, at least the ones that I talk to. Thank you so much, Governor.
God bless you, brother.
Is Michelle Obama running for president? Trump's in the strongest position he's ever been as a presidential candidate. He's beating Biden by 6 points in the latest Reuters poll. And while the media tells us he's a raving lunatic who should be in a padded room, a new report shows that behind the scenes, his campaign's a well-oiled machine firing on all cylinders. Trump's team is lean and full of seasoned pros, setting Trump up for 4 years of beautifully organized upheaval, something voters have been begging for. Quote, if he were to win and run the White House like he has his campaign, he could reshape America and its government more quickly and in more lasting ways than he did during his first term. And that scares the heck out of the press.
Like Trump, Hitler was also viewed as a clown, a goon who could be kept in line. Trump and people like him appeal to a group of Americans who hate the modern, multicultural, and increasingly liberal, secular society they live in.
I think that we're naive to think that he's tricking people into picking him and then, surprise, he's going to act like a dictator. That's what he's selling, and that's what they are very eager to buy.
Anyone who gets things done in Washington has to be a dictator. We're so used to empty promises that the idea that a politician could get elected and deliver the policies the people voted for quickly and efficiently is so foreign that anybody who promises real change on day one has to be a strongman. They sound terrified Trump might secure the border, stop crime, and drill. Now, if you believe you want to put America first, you're a Nazi, according to them. If you want America Not first. You're a patriot. See, they're conditioning us to be ashamed of making our country great. Only the Nazis wanted a great country, I guess. James Carville says we can't normalize wanting a great country.
There's a massive effort to normalize this. You see the New York Times column say, well, the Trump people have a case. You see the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the United States, saying, well, they're right about some things. You see reporters with Jason Miller in the Fort Des Moines Hotel. Reminds me of a bunch of German reporters in some Munich bar in 1935 saying, hey, Goring, he was an entertaining guy. I tell you what, he had some great stories. Nothing is normal about this at all.
Is it me, or do the Democrats know they're about to lose? The press is so out of touch with the American people, they actually believe having a border's racist, preventing wars is dangerous, and high interest rates are great. They believe Biden's fine, but Trump's in cognitive decline.
Used to make beer brewed here. It is used to make the brew beer in this refinery. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes. I wonder why it's coming.
We told you Trump's beating Biden in the polls, except for one. One poll shows Biden has an 84% approval. With who? That would be the 1%. That's right, America's wealthiest East and West Coast media and tech executives with advanced degrees who run Wall Street, D.C., and Silicon Valley overwhelmingly believe Biden's the best. They decide what's on TV, whose bills get passed, which campaigns get funded. The dirty little secret is that the professional class makes money dismantling America and selling it off for scrap. Anyone against their vulture capitalism gets smeared with a scarlet letter. But wear it with a badge of honor, because their days are numbered. Well, stealing is now considered health care. Sometimes you just have to speed.
St. Jerome's Hospital.
Hey, slow down! The first stage of labor can take hours.
Yeah, so can the midtown traffic. Hold on.
Oh, you stupid son of a...
California Democrats want to give Big Brother the power to pump your brakes and physically prevent your car from going more than 10 miles over the speed limit. They call it the Speed Governor. State Senator Scott Wiener is sponsoring the bill, which will make it mandatory in every new car made in 2027. This technology will track where you're driving and control the pedal, so you can't speed. The proposal says drivers would be able to temporarily disable the feature, but you have to give it a good reason. Who has time to pull over and give your car a reason to speed when your wife's going into labor or you're about to get carjacked? Pharmacies are essential businesses. They have our prescriptions. They have many of mine. Our toiletries, greeting cards, you know, the important stuff. In D.C., thieves just ran a CVS out of business. After months of organized looting, the shelves completely bare. Criminals were openly selling the stuff they stole around the corner. But weirdly, people were okay with it.
A lot of folks actually can't afford any of the things in there. I'm not saying that stealing has to be the solution to that, right? However, I don't know, maybe the city could provide more accessible resources to unhoused or under-income folks that can provide them like hair care, bodily care, hygiene care, etc. That could be an option.
Hair care, bodily care, hygiene care. Primetime believes that hair products are necessary. No one believes that more than Primetime. But we don't think you can slap the word care on the end of an item to justify stealing it. This guy is at an area REI store. Look at him. He was engaged in a little camping care, which apparently requires 7 pairs of the same sweatpants. And then there's this guy. Needs a little watch care, which is understandable. I mean, we all need to be on time. Don't forget about cash care. This fella needed it so badly he was willing to shoot someone. Or wine care. That I understand. Who doesn't need a nice cold shard after a long day of doing crime? Okay, this guy's just A little carjacking, maybe they probably needed a ride. Washington, D.C. is supposed to be America's crown jewel. It's the land of our founding fathers and the place where our laws are written. But the people who live there have been conditioned into thinking that those laws are not meant to be followed. The city's leaders have let it go to hell, but someone wants to fix it.
We'll take over the horribly run capital of our nation, Washington, D.C. It's a mess, and clean up and renovate and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it'll become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world.
Here now is D.C. resident Alyssa D'Souza. Alyssa, I mean, have you ever jacked a bunch of tops and just called it fashion care?
No, I just find it rather disturbing. I can't even go to the store to buy simple deodorant.
Well, what about the people that are stealing the deodorant and then walking around the corner and hawking it for twice the price?
I think it's ridiculous. I think people should be held more accountable in D.C. You have security officers that are placed in these local stores, and they're just told that they are just there to protect the employees and, you know, not be able to arrest anybody for walking out with multiple products. It's been really scary.
So if you try to steal an employee, then the security guard can do something. But if you just steal every product in the store, the security guy just has to watch?
Pretty much. It's going on in my area. It's really scary just turning the corner and walking down the streets to just go to shopping in any local store. It's scary being a female walking around in the area and never knowing when you're going to get carjacked or something is going to be stolen right off of you.
Is that why you guys carry mace?
I mean, it is nice to carry that now that it's, you know, been approved, but I don't know at the end of the day how that really protects me.
All right. Alyssa, thank you so much. Stay safe, and I hope you can get the deodorant that you need.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. It is DEI Thursday.
We'll be doing this on a weekly basis. DEI is something we must have.
It's Thursday. You know what that means. That's right. Happy DEI Thursday. As allies of Al Sharpton, Primetime celebrates the holiday. So let's start things off at the University of Wisconsin, where first-year law students were forced to denounce whiteness at a mandatory orientation. A pamphlet given to students read, "You may have attended many anti-racism workshops. You may not be shouting racist epithets or actively discriminating against people of color, but you still experience privilege." Oh, and students in attendance were told that white people, quote, aren't exceptional. Some might argue with that, since the white founder of the University of Wisconsin was a little exceptional. In Washington state, politicians want to change the term sex offender to person who has committed a sex offense, or person with lived experience of committing a sex offense, because that flows right off the tongue. They believe that the Sexual Offender Policy Board, a committee dedicated to reviewing sexual assaults, doesn't have enough sex offenders on it. Oh, and they also want an Indian on the board, too.
Those 4 new members include a representative from a community-based organization advocating for persons convicted of sex offenses, a representative from a federally recognized Indian tribe in the state, a representative with lived experience with incarceration for a sex offense, and a representative with lived experience as the victim of a sex offense.
But we have some good news, too. A school board in Pennsylvania has reclaimed their Native American mascot. Susquehannock High School is bringing back the Warriors after local Democrat politicians got rid of the name back in 2021 because of its mockery. But the case was never really the case. Locals said it honored Native Americans, not mocked them. It was a symbol of empowerment. Speaking of mascots, Primetime introduces you to a very important advocate.
Hi everyone, I'm Shitani, my persona is a king cheetah, and I've been a furry since 2012. This style of costume isn't only a last resort for furries who are neurodivergent or disabled. We have them because we like how they look. Not every fursuiter wants to be a cute and cuddly stuffed animal. Many of us envision our characters as something wilder. My fursuit was designed specifically to match my fursona. We just ask to keep an open mind, be respectful, and let us be weird animal people in our way.
Let's bring in radio show host Tommy Sotomayor. Tommy, you look like you want to talk about the furries.
I'm telling you, I don't know what to do. We need a safe space right now for sanity, for sane people, because the insanity has run amok, man.
I mean, it's DEI Thursday. We are forced to celebrate this, courtesy of the Reverend. I don't know about you, but white people aren't exceptional, and I would put myself in that category.
Well, you're not. I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. And you know how many white running backs there are in the NFL? One. And we got him. And let me tell you something. Because there's only one of them out of 32 teams, that lets me know whites aren't exceptional. But what we need to do is have diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I need you, Jesse, and the rest of the white people to stand up and say we need more white running backs.
We need more white running backs on every team that plays the Eagles, my team. That's the only time that I'll allow that. And white cornerbacks, too. That'll be fun.
Yeah. There haven't been a white cornerback since Jason Sehorn.
And there'll never be another one, Tommy. Tell me about the mascot game, because I've never heard of this before. You only hear stories about canceling American Indian mascots. They've reclaimed the Indian mascot. This is a huge breaking story on DEI Thursday.
Well, first off, we need more stories like that. We need the Washington Redskins back. I don't really know what they're doing with the mascots, and then the furries, they threw me off because I was like, well, aren't they technically a mascot? And couldn't they be a mascot for the insanity that the people have? But I'm really glad that that school has decided to stop just kowtowing to liberal movements, which make no sense. And what's next? The Yankees should be upset, right? That's a mascot should be upset.
That's true.
Yankees, people up north, they should be upset by that. What about the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, what about the What about the Vikings? What about the Raiders?
Yeah.
I thought that guy looked white on the helmet. Why don't we do this, Tommy? Why don't we make the Redskins the furries? The Washington furries.
Yes.
And I think a lot of those sick, kinky freaks in D.C. would love it.
And see, that's another one of my problems. I know we make jokes and things like that, and I enjoy that. You allow that. But when I watch these adults in these so-called furry outfits, the only thing that I can think of is who is it they're trying to attract? We realized who was trying to be attracted when we had Joe Camel. Well, what are these people trying to do when they're trying to be cuddly animals? Think about it. I don't like the precedent that it sets. When we're dealing with DEI, I think they need to have diversity, inclusion, and equity, and therefore it would be called DIE, and hopefully one day it will DIE. And then with the end of that, they'll teach people how to DIY, or to do it themselves, because that's the problem. They want the government to do it for them. So let's get to that one. Let's get to DIY.
All right, you're right. DEI is DOA on prime time. Tommy, thank you so much. See you later.
Thank you.
But before we go, we can't finish DEI Thursday without mentioning that Biden's chief diversity and inclusion officer is leaving the administration. Michael Leach was the first ever DEI officer in White House history, and we wish Michael well and expect Joe Biden to fill that role soon. Also, do Democrats want to get rid of Joe? Johnny finds out.
Does Joe Biden deserve another 4 years?
Taxes are crazy now. I'm broke.
According to a gossip column in the New York Post, Michelle Obama could be running for president. The plan? Biden announces he isn't running around May, and Michelle sweeps in at the convention. Will it work? Could the former First Lady be our next president? Johnny assembled a focus group. Watch.
Remember her?
Michelle Obama.
Love her. What is she up to?
She's relaxing with her husband.
I don't know, and I don't really want to know.
She's living her life like the queen she is.
Ruling the world somewhere from behind the scenes?
She's running Joe Biden?
Totally.
This is hard.
What do you think? Is she running?
She stay exercising. She stay in good shape.
That would be fantastic.
If Obama ever tried to run again, she was leaving him. So I know she don't want to run.
The same way Hillary was going, I think it's good for Michelle to go as well.
Yeah, it really worked out for Hillary.
Well,
I hear them, I know.
Do you like Michelle Obama?
She has a lot of good stuff going on out there.
The school lunches?
Yes.
Her fruit juices?
I never heard of those, but okay, yeah. When they had Ebola, remember they went down to Africa. They didn't let it go crazy like the coronavirus. I think that she'll be great.
Don't get me started.
If Michelle becomes president, Barack Obama is the first gentleman. How do you feel about that?
Power to the people.
Would you want to be a first gentleman?
I'm tired of being a hard worker. I want my woman to take care of me for once.
I don't want to think about these possibilities. I don't want to think about them.
Am I scaring you?
A little bit, a little bit.
I am scared as heck.
Should Michelle run against Joe Biden?
Yeah, we don't like Joe Biden.
Joe's a little old for me.
This is probably the first time we had a president we didn't even feel his presence.
I'm going to go to bed.
Does Joe Biden deserve another 4 years?
He don't deserve another day in office.
Trump deserves another 4 years.
He's not there. You got to be here.
This country is absolutely in shambles.
Taxes are crazy now. I'm broke.
Thanks, Joe.
And it's crazy because it's like I'm making more than I ever made and broker than I ever been. I don't know what the going on.
I can't tell you how disappointing how disappointed I feel every time I see her talk.
She's a clown.
Who would you vote for, Michelle Obama or Joe Biden?
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
Option C, someone else.
Would Michelle Obama beat Donald Trump?
Trump is for the Americans. And at the end of the day, where do we live? Where are we from?
If Michelle ran, then the black people would just vote because it's Michelle. They wouldn't even give a
I would have to go with her over my boy Trump.
I like Trump. People would rather see something different. See, everybody loves change.
Barack Obama ran on hope and change.
Yes.
And nobody had change in their pockets when he was president.
The rich people did.
I'm actually surprised by how much money I got.
Michelle had a very famous line. When they go low,
We go wide. We go round. I don't know. We go long.
We go high.
When they go low, kick them in the butt.
Michelle Obama is a big fan of Jesse Waters' Primetime, so if she's watching tonight, what do you want to tell her?
Go high.
Go long!
Long or short. Go whatever you want.
If you have to go against Trump, I'm sorry, I will pick Trump. But if you go against anyone else, you got my vote.
save us, because if we get Trump again, we're gonna all die.
You're gonna die?
You don't feel like he killed us?
Pinch yourself. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
You're alive.
That's all for tonight. Always remember, I'm Waters, and this is my world.